Hi everyone, I'm Nick from RevUp Dental, and in today's video, I'm going to show you just how easy it is to set up your own dental AI receptionist. We're going to be using a tool called Retell AI, but there's other similar ones out there that pretty much do the exact same thing. Another one that's really good that I've used is Blend AI, but again, there's quite a few out there, so take your pick. What I'm about to teach you is going to work for pretty much all of them anyways. Now, the reason I'm making this video is in the last year, there's been a huge influx of new businesses popping up offering dental AI receptionists. And it's not just for the dental space, pretty much, AI receptionist companies are springing up everywhere. And the reason for this, why they're coming out so quickly and all at the same time, is the technology to build these AI receptionists is widely available. It's incredibly cheap to run. They're very easy to set up, and you can basically build a business overnight. And you have a tool that, under the hood might only be costing that company $10 or $20 a month to run, but they can package it very nicely and they can sell it to dentists for $300, $400, $500 per month. And there's nothing wrong with that. If you're a dentist, you just want somebody to come in to set it all up and just deal with the implementation, that's totally fine. If one of these AI receptionists can help you save 1 or 2 extra patients per month that would have otherwise, they would have been calling and your staff is busy, they can pick up the phone or it went to voicemail. If this AI receptionist can intercept the call, talk to the patient, and actually book them, even if you only get 1 patient per month, you're going to make your money back, even if you're paying hundreds of dollars for this software. But for the dentists that are a bit more tech savvy, you know how to set up an iPhone, you know how to navigate Netflix, you can use Excel, then you have more than enough technical knowledge to build one of these things yourself. And I'm going to show you exactly how to do it. Okay, so I logged into Retell AI. You can set up a free account. I think they give you a couple credits in the beginning so you can test this thing out. I've already got a couple projects that I've been working on here, but for you, this should be empty. And all we really need to do is just click Create an Agent. Okay, there's a couple different options, but we'll just use a simple use case now. And if there's interest, and I can build one with, I can create another video that goes into a bit more detail how you can create more complex agents, but the fundamentals are still the same. So let's just start with, creating a simple prompt. You have a couple different templates here. I'm just going to use a blank template. And, we've got our interface here for how we can design our AI agent. So let me take a moment to kind of walk through what these buttons mean and what they do. Okay, so first at the top here, we can name our agent. We can call this Dental AI Receptionist. And we can choose the model that we want to run. So all of these AI receptionists, under the hood, they use a large language model, mostly ChatGPT, but also Claude. There's a couple of different ones out there. And this is going to influence your costs. So we can see here, if we use ChatGPT 4.0, we're going to be paying about 5 cents a minute. 4.0 mini is significantly cheaper if we want real time. These are like much faster duration, like much faster response times. There's also Claude. So you can basically pick and choose which AI model you want to run. Most of these AI receptionist companies are working with one of the cheaper models because that's just how you make money, right? You can minimize your costs, but then sell it to dentists for a whole lot more money. Once you start getting to the more expensive models, they actually start becoming very expensive to run, and it might be cheaper to just employ a real receptionist. So we'll just leave it on the default for now, but you can test out different models and see which one responds better. Now, in terms of voice, you've got many voices to choose from. These are all provided by a company called 11 Labs. They're kind of on the frontier of building AI voice agents. So you can listen to any of them. You can customize your gender, what kind of accent you want. These are all fantastic.
Hi, being at your service. Let me know what you're after, and I'll get right on it.
Hello, I'm Chloe. Here to lend a hand with a smile. How can I make things easier for you today?
Okay, so let's use Chloe, right? Sounds pretty good. So we're going to click Use this voice. You can also select the languages. So if your office, takes calls in different languages, that's fine. Like this, the fundamentals still apply to these as well. And then here in this text box, you're going to put in the personality of your agent. We're going to describe, what am I supposed to do as an agent, right? We're going to explain how, you're a dental AI receptionist, you're taking calls from new and existing patients. Here's the questions you want to ask, etc. And we'll show that shortly. We can customize the welcome message. I'm going to say, I want to begin with a well-defined message. We're going to say, thank you for calling ABC Dental. My name is Chloe. How can I help you today? Okay. Now over here, we've got a couple of different, more advanced options. Functions, this is where you can tie it into like booking schedules and calendars and things like that. But this is just a basic tutorial. We're not going to dive into that yet. Frankly, most dental AI receptionists, actually out of the 7 that I've looked at deeply, not a single one of them can actually book patients in your schedule. Really, they'll just take information and they'll compile a summary email. They'll send it to the staff, and the staff have to manually go in and input that person in. At best, what these tools can do is they will read your schedule to see if there's openings available, and it'll present those openings to the patient on the phone. But that can be sometimes really buggy, and there's been a lot of instances, I've talked to dentists where they say, this agent booked people on weekends when we're closed, in all kinds of situations, right? So for this tutorial, we're just going to, do it very simply. We're going to tell it when we're available, but you can tie into tools. You can, pull your schedule out of the patient management system and give it this knowledge. And the knowledge base section is where you can add documents. So let's say you have a certain insurance policy, or there's certain insurances that you accept, or you have information on some sort of like financing plan that your office has. You can dump documents into here, and these are things that the AI can reference. So like procedures, policies, like, essentially think of it like any documentation that you'd be giving your real receptionist, like if you have an employee handbook, if you have some sort of guide of like, here's what you do in different situations. If the patient asks this is what you should say, you can dump all of that here. So for the offices that are much more organized and they have like employee handbooks and good training material, like if you've been working with a consultant, you can dump a lot of that information here and it will actually reference it. The speech settings basically handles how responsive it is, how sensitive it is to interruptions. So you'll see when we test this out, if you interrupt it and you ask a question, it will stop and it will listen. It will act like a human being. The default is pretty good. One option I would suggest is you can add some coffee shop background noise. What this does is it makes it sound like you're calling a call center. So I've seen a number of dental AI receptionists use this feature. So it kind of sounds like you're in a busy office. So you may want that. You can play around with it, and you can, again, customize like how much volume you want. We'll just leave it on the default for now. And there's certain things like boosted keywords. Basically, this if you have certain lingo that you expect this AI receptionist to use, you can teach it that here. It's not really necessary, but let's say you're talking, you have an audience of highly technical people, and there's certain types of verbiage you want them to use that makes it sound like your AI knows what they're talking about. You can put that in here. So those are speech settings. Call settings. You've got like voicemail detection and all that stuff. Most of it is pretty straightforward. I think, honestly, by default, if you just leave them as is, they'll work plenty fine. Okay. So now let's jump into, how do we, teach, like, how do we give this AI some instruction? How do we get it to behave like a dental receptionist? Okay. So you could type out a bunch of information here, like you're a helpful receptionist, you're taking calls from patients, you're trying to gather information about them. Like if they're a new patient, you're going to ask for their name and their number and what they're looking for, and try to set them up with a callback and explain that one of the human staff is going to contact them as soon as possible and try to get them booked in. If they're an existing patient, you're going to do X, Y, Z. You want to have this tone of voice. If they ask these types of questions, here's how you should respond. You could just brain dump all of that in there. Or you can do what I'm about to show you, which is use AI to program this AI, and it's actually really simple. So let's jump into that, and we're going to use ChatGPT. I'll show you how to do that. Okay, so we're on ChatGPT. Okay, you can set up a free account. I'm sure pretty much everybody watching this video would have ChatGPT already. So I want a prompt, right, for a dental AI receptionist. And I don't know what I need to put in here, so I'm just going to ask ChatGPT to figure out for me. So what I can type in is, I want a prompt for Retell AI to program a dental receptionist. Write me what I need to copy paste so that it's a good dental receptionist. I want my receptionist to be polite and professional. I want it to ask good questions from new patients to learn more about them, such as their name, how they found our practice, what they're looking for, etc. If the patient is new and explains what they're looking for, implants, Invisalign, a checkup and cleaning, etc. I want the AI to ask good follow-up questions, like, when was the last time you've been to a dentist? And do you have insurance? And are you experiencing any kind of pain, etc. I want the receptionist to feel warm and caring, like she is taking the time to really get to know the patient. If the patient happens to be an existing patient, I want the receptionist to gather all the necessary details, like what the patient needs, when they would prefer to come in, the best time and number to reach them again, and explain that someone on the team will reach out to them shortly to get them all booked in. Okay, let's start with that. Okay, let's see what it comes up with. Okay, so here's a copy-paste friendly prompt you can use for Retell AI program, a warm professional. So prompt, you are a warm, polite, professional dental receptionist for a friendly and caring dental office. Your goal is to make every patient feel heard, valued, and supported while gathering blah, 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 blah. When speaking to new patients, if the person is an existing patient, okay, always speak. Okay, so let's copy this prompt. Now, I already noticed something that we can improve. I can basically explain, a caring dental office. The name of the dental office is, let's call it Trinity Dental. You are, why don't we give her a name too? You are Chloe, a warm, polite, and professional dental receptionist for a friendly and friendly and caring dental office. The name of the dental office is Trinity Dental. Your goal is to make every patient blah, 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 blah. Okay, so we can save that here. Okay, and we're going to customize this a few times. And if you like, in the description down below, I've put a link to some prompts that, I've spent some time fine tuning that I think work really well. So if I highly encourage you that you play around with some of these tools. You either write something on your own, test that. You can take one of our templates, test that as well. But what you'll notice is any dental AI receptionist company that you work with, they're going to have a box like this where you basically describe its personality. It's going to come pre-built with some sort of template they've designed that they probably only spent half an hour to an hour building. And then, if it doesn't say or do what you want it to do, you're kind of encouraged to just customize it further. But let's, leave it with that. Let's see how well it does. And why don't we jump into maybe testing it out and seeing, let's role play maybe a hypothetical scenario of a new patient calling, and we'll see how well this thing does. Okay, so to test it out, all we have to do is hit the test button. Now, we probably want to change this here and say, thank you for calling Trinity Dental. Okay, that's the name of our hypothetical dental office. So let's give it a shot. Let's test it out. Let's pretend to be a patient. We'll see how well it does.
Thank you for calling Trinity Dental. My name is Chloe. How can I help you today?
Hi there. Are you guys accepting any new patients?
Hi there. Thank you for reaching out to Trinity Dental. Yes, we are currently accepting new patients, and we'd be delighted to welcome you to our practice. May I ask your full name so I can get to know you better? And how did you hear about us?
Oh, hi. Yeah, my name is Nick, and I was just Googling online.
Hi, Nick. It's so nice to meet you, and thank you for finding us online. We're so glad you reached out. What kind of dental care are you looking for? For example, are you interested in a checkup and cleaning, something specific
like a checkup and cleaning, and for me and my son as well.
Got it, Nick. A checkup and cleaning for you and your son sounds great. We'd love to help with that. May I ask, when was the last time you and your son visited a dentist? And is there anything specific you'd like us to...
Yeah, sorry to interrupt. We're new to the area, so I think we were at a dentist in our old town maybe 6 months ago.
No problem at all, Nick. Thank you for sharing that. It's great that you and your son have been keeping up with your dental care. Since you're new to the area, welcome. We'd love to help make this transition as smooth as possible for you both. Do you or your son have any dental concerns or discomfort right now? Or is this just a routine visit to stay on top of things?
Just a routine visit, yeah.
That's wonderful to hear, Nick. A routine visit is a great way to stay on top of your oral health. Do you have dental insurance that you'd like us to note for your visit? And is there anything specific about your or your son's dental history?
We have Delta Dental. I'm not sure. We have some x-rays that we took before we left the old town. But I'm not sure I can get... Oh, sorry?
Thank you for letting me know, Nick. Delta Dental is great, and if you're able to get a copy of those x-rays from your previous dentist, that would be really helpful for our team. If not, no worries at all, we can take new ones here if needed. Do you have a preferred day or time for your appointments? We'll do our best to accommodate both you and your son's schedules.
Yeah, what about Wednesday on next week?
Absolutely, Nick. Let me check with the team to see what we have available for next Wednesday.
Okay, so as you can see, it works pretty well. I mean, we haven't really customized this or given it much in terms of instructions, right? So what I would do at this point is, role play a bunch of different scenarios of like common questions that you typically get until you're confident that it can do a pretty good job. And you can, teach it to, or essentially give it instructions on, I just want you to collect information from the patient, and, you're going to end the call by telling them that we're going to call them back. We're just... you may want to, and I probably recommend it, starting off by saying, I'm a dental AI receptionist, I'm just here to get some information and to pass it off to our team. You don't necessarily want to pretend like it's a real human being because, no one's going to be fooled by that, right? So you can give it whatever instructions you want. Now, what I would do at this stage is after role playing it, I might customize the speech settings and say, okay, well, I want it to be maybe a little bit more, responsive to interruptions and stop talking. Maybe I can increase this a little bit or maybe reduce it. Maybe the background noise wasn't loud enough. It didn't, just sounded like kind of like weird noise. It didn't sound like I'm in a busy office. Maybe I want to increase this volume a little bit. You can start to work with it a little bit. If you found that it's like not pronouncing things correctly, you can use the pronunciation guide and just kind of explain like, this is how you say operatory, this is how you say, such and such. But you start to modify what you have here. And ideally you would end up with maybe like 1,000 words, like a couple pages of good instructions. And, an easy way to do this as well is if you find that, it's like there's something wrong with the personality, you're not really sure how to describe for it to do it differently, you can go back to ChatGPT and just write up a different prompt and say, okay, I use this prompt, but the receptionist asked too many questions. Sometimes it would ask 2 questions at once, like what insurance do you have? And instantly follow up with a second question like, is there anything bothering you with your teeth, before the patient even has time to respond. I want it to only ask one question and then wait for a response. So it's going to revise it for you, right? Like it, so prompt revise, you're impolite, only ask one question at a time, wait for the patient's response before asking the next question, your tone should, right? So you could use AI and just talk to the AI and explain what's wrong, and the ChatGPT will write you a better prompt that goes in here, which goes back to ChatGPT, right? So, right. So I highly encourage you to do this. Again, down below, I'll put a link to some good instructions you can start off with. You know, I've looked at 7 dental AI receptionist companies, and, you know, behind the scenes, they all have a prompt like this, and they're all very similar. Nobody's doing anything radically different. So just highly encourage you, you know, start with our template, make your own, use ChatGPT, modify. You're going to go through this a couple times. And even when you're working with a dental AI receptionist company, they're not going to customize it all that much for you. They still very much expect to, you know, we've built a basic template that works pretty well, test it out yourself, and then tell it what you want it to do differently. So you're still going to have to do this, even if you're paying like a couple $100s a month for this software. They're not just going to customize it for you. And this is how you do it. So next, let's look into how do we actually set this up with a phone number? How do we make this active so that, you know, if somebody calls, this thing basically picks up the phone and starts talking to the patient. Okay, so I'm back on the main screen. We've got our dental AI receptionist, Chloe. Very simple instance, you know, just a single prompt agent. And now, you know, how do we actually make this active? How do we, you know, get people to talk to Chloe? So we just go to phone numbers, and there's 2 ways you could do this. If you already have a phone number, you could connect this using SAP trunking. You'll definitely need to get a bit of help from your, you know, VoIP company or your IT. You know, this is where you need to be a bit more tech savvy, but it's super easy to connect. I mean, if you have Twilio, CallRail, whatever you have, like you can essentially connect all of this information and it'll work through that phone number. But a much simpler setup, I think, for most dentists is to just register a new number. So you buy a new number. You're going to buy it from Twilio. Twilio is one of like the main providers of phone services. So all of the software like CallRail, Mango, whatever, like all of these different phone systems that dentists use, they're all built on Twilio. Like that's the underlying system. So you just register a number from them, right? So this number costs $2 a month. I mean, if you were to go to Twilio directly, I think you're paying like $1, $1.50 or something like that. So it's not like you're not saving a ton of money. Like it's worth just registering the number from Retell AI. But if you're a bit more tech savvy, or you have an IT company and you already have a VoIP system and you want it to work with one of your existing numbers, you can connect that. It's really not that complicated. But for this case, let's just set up a brand new number, right? So I'm gonna say I want a Twilio number. Yeah, sure, I'll pay the $2 monthly fee. Let's set up a area code. I don't know. Let's say 905. Okay, let's see if it can find a number. You put in whatever area code you have. Obviously, you failed to find that area code. I'll put an area code, doesn't really matter. Let's see what it gives us. Okay, so it gave us a number, 985-466-7596, okay? It doesn't matter what it is, because essentially what you're going to be doing is you can set up your phone system so that if 3 rings happen and nobody picks up, it routes to this number, okay? Even internally in your own VoIP system, when you have 3 lines, it doesn't move to line 2. Like what it does is if you have 3 lines in your office, each of the lines has an independent number. And what the VoIP settings does is it says, well, if the call isn't answered, then call this number instead, move the call over. So you're just going to add this number to your list of lines. Or what you could do is just a call forward and say, okay, we're going for lunch. No one's going to be at the front desk for the next hour. forward the phone to this phone number. And then when somebody calls, it just sends the call here. And basically this thing essentially picks up, okay? So we want the inbound call agent to be our dental AI receptionist. Okay, so add inbound webhook. Again, don't worry about that. That's a bit more advanced. Outbound call agent. So if you could also build an AI receptionist that does outbound calls. So like, let's say you feed it a list of, here's the names of patients that are coming in next week with, their names, their appointment dates, and I want you to call these people systematically one by one just to check in that they are going to be coming to their appointment, or let us know if they need to reschedule, and we're going to try to see if we can reschedule them. So, I'll link down below because I basically built one of these agents as well, so you can check out that link of how I made it do outbound calls. So that's what that's there for. But we're just going to use it as an inbound agent. And we're just gonna leave it like that. Okay. So next, why don't we give it a call and test out how it works, right? So the setup would be, I'm a receptionist. I'm going out for lunch. I don't want the calls to be missed or to go to voicemail. I'm gonna forward the phone to call this number instead. And if somebody calls while I'm not there, then it's going to call this agent. So let's test that out on a real phone call and see how that works. Okay, so let's try this out. So I've got my phone, okay? And I'm gonna call that number, right? So let's see here. So 985-466-7596. Let's put it on speakerphone.
Thank you for calling Trinity Dental. My name is Chloe. How can I help you today?
Hi, are you guys accepting any new patients right now?
Hi there. Thank you so much for reaching out to Trinity Dental. Yes, we are absolutely accepting new patients, and we'd be delighted to welcome you to our practice.
Okay. So it works, right? Like, it's been maybe half an hour and we built one of these things, right? So you can imagine, this is why there's a million of these companies popping up. It's that easy, and you can take this technology. And I mean, right now, let's see, what am I paying for each of these calls? So we can look at the call history. This call, might cost, so we had a 2-minute call, cost 20 cents, right? So you can imagine if let's say we did the math here. So let's pull up our calculator. Let's say your office gets 300 calls a month, and you're only going to get this thing to answer maybe after hour calls or calls that go to voicemail. So out of those calls, maybe, let's say 25%, all right, will end up going to this AI agent. And each of these calls might be, let's say, 3 minutes length, right? So you've got 225 minutes that you're using. So let's take a look here. What are we paying for the agent? Dental AI receptionist is the one we built. So I'm paying 12 cents. Okay, so times 12 cents. So let's put our calculator here. So times 12 cents. So I'm paying $27 a month for it to take all of those calls. Now, I'm using one of the more advanced models. The reality is I could also drop it, to ChatGPT 4.0 mini, which is not 5 cents. It's half of 1 cent, right? So you have like different options depending on, I can use Claude Haiku, which would drop it from 5 cents to 2 cents a minute. Basically up to you. Most of these calls, they're not going to be all that long, because if you program the receptionist correctly and you say, just be short, get to the point, just try to get their information and really just set them up for a callback, which is basically what these AI receptionists are really trying to do. Again, I haven't found one that actually books the patient in your system. You don't even want that, because even when most of these companies, if you pay an extra fee, a couple $100 a month, they'll be able to use an API that pulls the data from your patient management system to get the schedule, to see when there's availability. But when I've seen dentists use this, there tends to be a lot of problems where it will start to recommend times that don't necessarily make sense, or it'll double book the patient, or the information is out of date. And it's like, yes, there was an availability at 2 p.m. on Wednesday, but unfortunately someone else booked it And this AI isn't just like scraping the data out of your patient management system every minute. So it double booked the patient. So best case scenario with these types of systems is you want to just collect information and pass that off to the receptionist. So let's take a look at, how we can do that, because you can go inside the tool and look at the call history and basically see kind of like what happened. What was the sentiment? Was it a positive call, whatnot? But maybe what we want to do is create some sort of a summary where, let's say it'll hypothetically like send an email or something like that, so that as a reception I can check, the AI intercepted a call, they wanted to book an appointment, here's all the details, here's their name, here's their number, here's how you can call them back. And let's take a look at how we can do that. Okay, so we're back in the settings for the AI receptionist, and what I want to do here is I want to do some post-call analytics, right? So I want to retrieve some data after the AI has talked to the patient. So let's do that now. We can, basically extract, was he a new patient, existing patient, how did he find us, where, what does he want, etc. So that way, if your staff have to call him back, they understand kind of what happened. Of course, they could also just like listen to the recording, but, let's say we wanted to save some time. So let's say, I want post data, I want to have it pulled by ChatGPT 4 Mini. It's free to do this. I'm going to say text summary. Give a brief summary of what happened on the call. Let's say I want name of patient. What was the name of the patient? Let's say service. What dental service was the patient looking for? Maybe we want new, existing. Was the patient a new was the caller a new patient or an existing patient? Maybe insurance. Insurance. Did the patient have any insurance? Okay, so let's test this out really quickly and see kind of like how this feature works.
Thank you for calling Trinity Dental. My name is Chloe. How can I help you today?
Hi there. I'd like to book a checkup and cleaning. I just moved to the area.
Welcome to the area. We'd be so happy to help you get scheduled for a checkup. May I start by getting your full name?
Yeah, my name is Nick Fotache, Fotache.
Thank you, Nick. It's great to meet you. How did you hear about our practice?
Oh, I just did a search on Google.
That's great to hear. Thank you for choosing us. Are you just looking for a routine checkup and cleaning, or is there anything specific you'd like us to take a look at?
No, just the checkup and cleaning would be fine, thank you.
Got it, Nick. When was the last time you visited a dentist, if you don't mind me asking?
Oh, must have been 2 years now, I think.
Thanks for letting me know. It'll be great to get you back on track with the checkup and cleaning. Are you currently experiencing any discomfort or concerns with your teeth or gums?
No, everything's okay. I just want to do a checkup and make sure everything's okay, though.
That's a great idea, Nick. It's always good to stay on top of things. Do you have dental insurance that you'd like us to use for your visit?
No, I'll be a cash patient, thank you.
Thank you for letting me know, Nick. When would be a good time for you to come in? Do mornings or afternoons work better for you?
Ideally, I'd prefer mornings, yeah. Maybe Wednesday or Thursday this week if it's available.
Perfect. Mornings on Wednesday or Thursday. I'll make a note of that. Lastly, could I get the best phone number to reach you at so our team can confirm your appointment?
Yeah, it's 555-444-3322.
Thank you, Nick. I've got all your details noted down. Our team will give you a call shortly to confirm your appointment and get everything set up. If you have any other questions in the meantime, don't hesitate to reach out. We're looking forward to seeing you soon.
Okay, thank you so much. Bye-bye.
You're very welcome, Nick. Have a wonderful day, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye for now.
Okay, so that was our test call. let's see what sort of data it pulled out. So if we go to call history, okay, we can see we had a positive call here, 2 minutes. If I go in here, Nick, new patient, called to book dental checkup and cleaning, provided his details, preferred appointment time, agent. Nick, I forgot the E at the last, looking for checkup and cleaning, is new, doesn't have any insurance, right? So, here's the call summary. Here's the whole conversation log. You can play back the recording and you can basically call this person back. So pretty straightforward, right? I mean, I think it's been under an hour total, and we already put one of these things together. And you can imagine, I mean, if you spend, which I recommend, you spend like, a day or two customizing this, you really think through, you work with your team. You don't have to be, tech savvy. You're, anybody, like if you have any receptionists that know how to use a phone, right? Like, or know how to use a computer, they can play around with this. There's tons of helpful tutorials. You can see the power of these tools. And again, you're going to be paying a fraction of the cost. I'm using one of the more expensive models. I mean, this call costs 26 cents. But again, think about it, like once you set it up, you're not going to be necessarily taking all that many calls. And even if you had to take every single call, you're still going to be paying a fraction of what these other dental AI receptionist companies are charging you, because they're using the same technology under the hood. They're just packaging it nicely, selling it to you. They spend a bit of time customizing the prompts, and that's about it. Now, this is just a basic, overview. We can get into a lot more complicated topics like, if it's a discussion on insurance, how do you switch that agent to a different agent that has a bunch more information on insurance? You can make these quite elaborate and complicated. I don't think it's very necessary. Again, down below, you're going to find a link to some prompts that we've tested out, that we've used, that I think are really good. You can start there. I also have a link to a video where I used one of these agents to make outbound calls. So essentially, you can provide it a CSV file worth of patient names, numbers, and appointment dates, and it will call out and it will try to confirm those appointments. It'll get the necessary details, and then your staff can get a report to say, yep, here's who's coming in and here's who needs to be rescheduled. And if they need to be rescheduled, here's what they need. So you can see how that works. But that's it for today's video. Hopefully you found this interesting. Again, by all means, spending a couple $100s a month on one of these tools that someone has already packaged nicely, they set it up for you, they make it easy. There's nothing wrong with that. If one of these AI receptionists can help you save one extra patient per month, you'll make more than $300, $400, or $500 that you're paying for the software, guaranteed. And it'll probably help you save a lot more than that. But for those that wanted to see kind of like, why there are all these companies popping up, it's because it's this easy to set up one of these tools, right? So if you're a bit more tech savvy, I think you can play around with this, and then I think you can save yourself hundreds of dollars a month, and you can probably build something that's even more powerful than what these other companies are offering. That's customized much more closely to how you want your office to run. If you have any questions, put them down below in the comments. Happy to do a follow-up video diving into some more advanced topics. But hope you found this useful, and hope to see you on the next video. Thanks for watching. Take care.